Bienvenidos, Mayhem Americans! It is Mad Mike. We are here. This is a special edition of the Midweek War. It is the Lucha Underground Season 1 wrap-up, or Garza?
Bienvenidos a la recapitulación y el recuento de los daños de Lucha Underground, la primera temporada. Vamos a estar dando los premios a lo que encontramos mejor en el año.
Exactly!
What he said.
All right.
Garza, I could not have said it better myself. Literally, I could not have said it better myself.
All right, well, I am Mad Mike, or the machine called Mad Mike, and with me for this very special episode, of course, Antonio Garza. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I've been waiting for this show for weeks because I have so many memories, good memories of Lucha Underground that I just want to bring them all back.
Exactly. I just finished watching TNA, so Lord knows I need some excitement in my life, and this is perfect. With us also is Bobby F JTown, the man who binge-watched Lucha Underground to catch up with us. Bobby, how are you?
I'm great. I love Lucha Underground. I'm tired, though, but I'm here.
Excellent. And currently on mute because he's drinking a drink, Matt Carlins, the man the mainstream media. How are you, sir?
That's right, direct to you from the extra value menu. It's Chalupa Supreme. Great to be here, Mike. I, too, want to celebrate amazing wrestling, so let's do it.
Excellent. Okay, now this is going to be a little different from our normal midweek war podcast. We're going to go a little bit longer, but we're going to have three distinct categories for Lucha Underground. We are going to have all of us come up with a match of the year candidate. We're going to have all of us come up with a Dios mío momento, or an oh my god moment for those of you who don't speak Spanish or have never listened to Joey Styles. And we're going to have the MVP of Lucha Underground. Not that MVP, never that MVP, but the most valuable player in Lucha Underground. All right. I'm going to pick randomly. He goes first with the match of the year, and I'm going to pick Bobby F JTown. Bobby, what was your match of the year for Lucha Underground Season 1?
My match of the year is gonna might surprise some of you guys. It's an earlier in the season match.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Grave Consequences match between Phoenix and Muertes. That's what really got me into Lucha Underground. From that match on, I was hooked. I was in. I was locked. You know, it was such a good match. I loved it.
Yeah, I know we've had conversations where we said that Grave Consequences is kind of where Lucha turned from a good show into a great show.
Yeah. I mean, him ripping his mask like that and just throwing him into the casket, and just there was so many good things in that match. It was amazing. I loved it.
And the fact that it was kind of a setup to make Mil Muertes even stronger.
Yeah. And that's when he had his blue striped pants. He didn't even get into the black pants yet, which I marked out for him getting the black pants. That was like one of my big markout moments of wrestling this year.
I do remember you actively tweeting about the new pants from
I was like, he needs black pants. I like Mil Muertes, but he needs black pants.
Mm-hmm.
And then, he got black pants when he came back. It was great.
What I remember really good about this match is that, overall as a casket match, it was the best casket match I've seen.
Oh, definitely.
Because we're so accustomed to seeing a casket match where we get a bunch of near fall type of spots where, oh my god, he's gonna fall in the casket, he's gonna close it, oh no, he grabbed the door. And here, no, it was just a huge ass brawl, and then as soon as they open the casket, boom, he goes in, that's it.
It was probably the best casket match I've seen since Taker and Michaels.
It was a faster paced casket match. Usually casket matches are so slow and, but this one was fast paced. There was a lot of action, a lot of good brawling wrestling. Him throwing him into the casket and denting it was just a thing of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
That match also made Phoenix, I guess, in the Lucha Underground. That's That's a match that took Phoenix to a whole new level.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the promos that came after it too were just like Mil Muertes rising from the grave, and you just see him laying in the casket, and his eyes open up, and they're all white.
That whole storyline was like out of a comic book too.
Yeah.
They told a great story throughout the whole thing.
All right, Matt, any comments on the grave consequences before we move on?
I think you guys have said it all, but I'm just kind of curious as I'm sitting here kind of reflecting back on that period. Did we ever get a full explanation of why Katrina kind of dumped Phoenix and just rebounded right back to Mil Muertes?
Yeah.
Using them.
Yeah, she was using him to give him the power of a million lives.
1,000 lives.
Yeah, 1,000 lives.
Because she had to have Mil Muertes
Die.
defeated and put into a casket so he could be reborn even stronger.
Yeah, it's like Mega Man, but like in reverse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you have to be defeated by someone to gain their powers. That's why they took out Conan to gain the powers for Prince. He could defeat Prince Puma.
And he got black pants from it.
Exactly.
Just
like Mega Man. All right, Garza, what was your match of the year?
My match of the year is going to go to the Aztec Warfare, which was our Lucha Underground style version of Royal Rumble.
Nice.
But the eliminations only happened via either pin or submission. That match, I mean, I guess we're so accustomed to a Royal Rumble, just a bunch of people fighting, and we see some eliminations that don't mean anything. But Aztec Warfare actually told several stories. Everyone got their shit in, and even at the end, we had like what could have been a main event for any other show, and we had it here. So Aztec Warfare for me.
Yeah, wasn't that the first battle between Puma and Muertes too? Weren't they the last two guys in there?
No, I think it was Puma and Phoenix, or Puma and Mundo.
Okay.
Puma and Mundo.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I know Mil Muertes was the last guy who came out, right?
No. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yes. The first one was Phoenix.
Oh, I thought the first one was Puma. Okay, never mind.
I thought Famous P was going to win.
We all thought Famous P was going to win, Bobby. Yeah, but that match was... We didn't know what to expect, too, because they just called it Aztec Warfare, and we're like, oh, I guess it's just going to be a thing. Like, but it was really, really a lot of fun. Like, and the fact that every character from Lucha Underground up until that point had been represented into the match, too.
It was also that first example of Lucha Underground taking this thing that you've seen before and just putting their new name on it. Like, we're going to do the Royal Rumble. We're going to call it Aztec Warfare. And by the end of it, you'll have forgotten it had anything to do with the Royal Rumble before. Kind of like how they just took the casket match, they rebranded Grave Consequences, and you're like, oh, they made it their own. Somehow they take these tired stipulations, they found a way to kind of, I don't know, just kind of like put it into their universe. And after you've gone through it with them, you're just kind of like, no, that was nothing like the Royal Rumble. This was completely different. I don't know if that's brainwashing or if that's just me buying in, but yeah, it was kind of weird how they were able to do that repeatedly over the entire season. They did that with other matches too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best thing about Lucha Underground is they never insult the audience because they establish the universe where these rules are in effect. Like, if you watch from episode 1, you know what kind of world you're getting into, where you don't necessarily have the normal tropes of professional wrestling.
Yeah, it's the altered reality. It's the altered perspective that you're not used to getting when you're watching pro wrestling, and it's what made Lucha so interesting to watch.
Yeah, a lot of it was like watching old '90s Undertaker promos, because then you were like, okay, this guy is a literal zombie that doesn't feel pain, and we all accept that and move on with it.
Mm-hmm.
And Papa Shango is here, and he's a voodoo doctor that can make Ultimate Warrior bleed liquid from his head. Like, that's the kind of stuff that Lucha Underground did from episode 1 and just had us go in with it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I will go next with my match of the year, and I am going to say, all night long, all night, because again, they take the Iron Man match. They take the Iron Man match, something that has not been able to really be done on wrestling television for a long time. They usually have to save that for pay-per-views. But they took it and they didn't put a time limit on it, which I think was very important. They just said it was going to last the entirety of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So because I remember I was watching it on DVR, and I didn't want to fast forward to see how long I was into the show. Like, I actually forced myself to watch the commercials, so I didn't know when the finish was coming. And they were able to brawl around the whole arena. Johnny Mundo wrestled like the smartest heel ever. Like, he wrestled he had a similar story, kind of like Brock and Angle did in their Iron Man match, where Mundo cheated and got a lot of victories right in a row.
Yeah.
Like, he was up 4-1 at one point.
I think so.
I think you're right, yeah.
And then he tried to pull the Bull Dempsey thing and run around the arena.
What did he hit him with?
Crowbar.
Crowbar?
Yeah, he
Okay.
Jason Todd him.
I was going to
Jason
say,
Todd
I thought it was a tire iron. I was going to say he pranked him with a tire iron.
But yeah, like, there was so much, and the spear off the concert stage, where they both crashed through all the like, it was just ridiculous. There were high spots. There was some fun interference with Patron that set up Ultima Lucha. Just so much good stuff in that match. I really that was my favorite title defense of Prince Puma, I think, just because it was so much fun, and the way Puma came back just really solidified him as the champion for me.
I remember that crate, too. That looked pretty brutal for being
Yeah.
like a crate. I was like, holy crap.
And how
I also
Mundo
really
hopped
thought
from one ladder to the other.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I love the interference from El Patron in that match, because it's not your typical good guy wrestler interferes and just kind of screws a bad guy. Johnny Mundo is on his bike and riding and running from Prince Puma for minutes on end, to the point where somebody has to do something, and Alberto steps in and he does what's right, and he brings Johnny Mundo back in where he has to fight the fair fight. It was a perfect incident of face interference. I loved it.
Yeah, and the best part about it was that it didn't make Johnny look weak. It made him look smart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't like a heel running away from a match. He was winning. He was literally just trying to wear out the clock, which is a solid strategy. Like, it's underhanded, but it's a solid strategy.
He was in that prevent defense.
Yeah, but you know prevent defense does, Matt.
You know what the prevent defense prevents?
Winning.
You from winning, yeah.
It prevents you from winning. All right, Matt Carlins, we said all of ours will be your match of the year from Lucha Underground.
I'm glad you didn't take mine. My favorite match of the year from Season 1 of Lucha Underground had to have been the Trios Championship match between Son of Havoc and Ivelisse and Angelico versus the Crew. And just amazing. And not just because Angelico tried to kill himself by jumping off the roof of Dario's office, which was basically one of the craziest things we've seen in professional wrestling for a long time, at least mainstream televised professional wrestling. But I mean, for me, like the storytelling of that team throughout the season, and even from like the very beginning of the season, where Son of Havoc starts the season as just the biggest loser you've ever seen in your life. He can't beat anybody. He can't beat anybody.
He can't beat Angelico, and then Ivelisse beat Angelico.
Right, and
like, that was how their whole story started.
So Son of Havoc is a loser. Ivelisse is just the meanest woman on the face of the earth, and Angelico is, I don't know, a horny motocross rider. I'm not sure what he was when he came in.
No, that's accurate. That's accurate.
I'm not the only person who thought this. The first time I saw Angelico, who is this skinny geek? Get him off my TV. But damn it,
He won everybody over.
He just won us over. He basically won over everyone watching Lucha Underground in that one moment where he jumped off Dario's office. But getting back to the original point, just like seeing the evolution of the team that hates one another, again, the most tired of professional wrestling tropes, the tag team partners who hate one another, taken to the next level, now trios partners who hate one another, and then to see them reach the point where that relationship, even after they won those titles, there's still that tension between them until finally towards the end of when you get to the very end of the season, even though they don't have the titles anymore, it's almost like they've gained that extra thing because now they really feel like a real team by the end of the season, even though they've lost. It's almost like they had to lose to truly become a team, and at the end of the season, Son of Havoc is like, we're going to get those titles back, and then Evil Leaf drives him away on her hog.
I was going to say, and Son of Havoc still sitting in bitch on the bike.
And Helico has a dirt bike, of course.
Yeah, of course! So he was
Motocross, right?
just a horny motocross guy.
So good, though.
I thought-
A lot of guys on Lucha Underground that I've never seen before in my life. Angelico is definitely one of those guys that just jumped off the screen at that point and just like, I cannot believe. And from then on, he was on fire. Just so much confidence going on from there.
All right, so I feel we need to have maybe an honorable mention match because all four of us have talked about amazing matches. Not one of us said anything from Ultima Lucha,
Yeah.
which shows you the strength of the season.
It might be coming up later.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, this just Ultima Lucha, just in general. Like if you watch it as a full 3-hour show, like it was intended, probably the best pay-per-view of the year. Any arguments on that one? I don't think so.
Wrestle Kingdom 9 wants to debate that with you, but Ultima Lucha was amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'd take Ultima Lucha over Wrestle Kingdom 9, personal preference, but I mean, Ultima Lucha, there was only really one bad match, and that was due to an injury. So, all right. So now that we've gotten our favorite matches out of the way, it's time we go to our Dios míos momentos. So, we will start with Ciro. What is your oh my god moment from Lucha Underground Season 1?
Well, since we just talked about the Angelico jump, I gotta twist it up and go somewhere else. And I'm gonna say that moment after the show was pretty much over, a striker and Vampiro just like signing off, and then out of nowhere, Pentagon Jr. kicks the shit out of Vampiro and tries to burn him alive. That was just like, holy fuck, shit's getting real between these two guys.
That's
like, Dios mío, holy shit.
Yeah, when he pulled out the lighter fluid.
He was
Like-
lit him on fire.
Oh, man.
Lucha got really good at that, Mike. You coined it kind of like the Marvel movie moment where they would get you right to the end and you're watching the credits and then they'd give you just that one extra thing to the point where if you're like a normal person, when you see the credits on a show, you're kind of like, I'm done, I turn this off. You don't do that with Lucha Underground. You watch it until you see like the United Artists thing at the very, very end that tells you, yes, you're done. You may turn this off now.
See, the funny thing is, the first week of Lucha, I turned it off after the last match. I didn't see the little Marvel movie moment. Then this one podcast I listened to, they were reviewing Lucha, and they talked about the end scene. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember seeing that. So I went back to my DVR, and I started watching it, from the end of the last match on. I was like, oh, they're learning things from Marvel. Oh, this is going to be fun. Because it's perfect. Because it was always a story driver for the next week.
Mm-hmm.
Because they filmed everything, because everything was in the can for them pretty much, they used their behind-the-scenes stuff, they used the backstage segments to drive the narrative better than any wrestling show I think has done in years. Like, not since the Attitude Era has backstage segments been used this well. I would love to see someone else.
You could say they advanced the backstage segment to places it's never been before in professional wrestling before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to say, like, long term how we'll view this change. Like, is this just like a footnote, or is this the start of something? Is this just a passing wave, or are we getting ready to ride it? And will other companies kind of follow this lead and take this cinematic approach to their storytelling? It worked great for Lucha. I don't know if it would work for other companies. I don't know if it could ever work for WWE. It's too big. The creative for WWE is way too liquid. You know, it's always in motion.
They fly by the seat of their pants. They don't have time to like shoot cinematically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's week to week to week to week to week to.
I think it could work in NXT. Yeah. I think it could work in NXT because it's all very self-contained down there at the Performance Center. Like, I mean, we've already seen a little bit of it with, of all people, Bull Dempsey. I mean, it's not shot as well. Obviously, it's still shot like WWE stuff, but his story has not been in the ring. It started with the one match in the ring where Tyler Breeze literally ran him out of the ring. And then everything else from then on has been a backstage segment with William Regal, or like the Bullfit promo, or the training montage. Like, that has kind of been his story. Mm. And I think they're taking a cue from Lucha in doing that.
Maybe. It'll be interesting to see if someone tries to take that Lucha approach and tries to twist that perspective, twist that reality on professional wrestling. Going forward.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to get the full reality twisting like Lucha does, where Lucha's actually able to kill people, which we may get to. But right. I think yeah. But yeah, I think we could get to a point where we can have more organic backstage segments. I think we can get to that. All right, so Matt Carlins, what was your Dios Mio moment?
I actually just thought about this one recently as I was watching the 37-minute recap of the entire season of Lucha Underground, which is incredible. Go find it and watch it if you have yourself a half an hour or so to watch it. I think it was the second episode of Lucha Underground where Chavo Guerrero brains Sexy Star in the head with a steel chair. And that was kind of like that moment. Like, okay, I watched the first episode of Lucha Underground. I'm like, okay, this is really different. This is interesting. I will watch it again. But when Chavo knocks out Sexy Star with a steel chair to the head, I'm like, okay, this show has made it very clear we're going places that no one else is willing to go. That was the message that was sent in that moment. And the violence against women continued from there. Mike, you know it's something I really like to talk about on this podcast from time to time. And
I totally forgot about that.
It was a truly shocking moment, and pretty incredible that in this day and age we've reached a point where hitting someone in the head with a steel chair is shocking again. Let alone a woman. Yeah, that was pretty shocking.
I totally forgot about that completely, but yeah. I remember like exactly your reaction, like, oh, okay, it's that kind of show. Like, they made us care about Chavo Guerrero for the first time since, and I'm sorry to say this, Eddie died. Like, I mean, it sounds harsh, but it's true. It's the first time I think any of us cared about Chavo since, 2008.
And don't you think, I mean, that was kind of big for, not necessarily, it's never big when you get hit in the head with a steel chair. That's never good. But for getting people on the side of Sexy Star, I think we can all say that, like, when you're watching a Sexy Star match, you're kind of like, yes, I want to see Sexy Star kick this guy's ass, because it kind of, like, gave you just enough sympathy. And not that cheap sympathy, it was earned. It was the same sympathy you would have felt for any male wrestler, Mm-hmm. That was a cheap shot. Let's get him.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, she was probably one of the most underdog competitors in all of season 1. So that was a great setup for all of her moments yet to come.
Yep.
How about you, Bobby? What was your Dios Mio moment?
I'm gonna piggyback on what Sarah said, and mention about the Vampiro reveal of him being the master.
Ah, nice.
Oh,
Because I was sitting, I think one episode of Mayhem Show, I was like, well, what if it's Vampiro? And I was like, I'm like, oh my god, I was right! I was so happy. But yeah, that was like, that's amazing. That whole match was amazing. It was second to the other one as my favorite match of the year, I think. Because it wasn't just a hardcore match. Like everybody that talked about that match didn't say it was just a hardcore match, how hardcore matches are passe. It was a match that told a story. Like it was what that match needed. Like how violent it was, how these guys were like, you know, now that going through, like he was just trying to teach him to go to that dark place that he was going to, you know. And like they used light bulbs and anything you can imagine.
And Vampiro was literally rolling around on fire there for a couple seconds.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Like it wasn't one of those bullshit WWE fires where as soon as you go through, the fire's already out. Like he was on fire.
Yeah. And
no, and like even the table, like it wasn't that a little alcohol type of fluid.
Yeah,
it was straight up gasoline.
Yeah. Like I think in WWE they use like vodka. They use like vodka so the flame burns bright but then goes away really quickly. But yeah, in Lucha they just use straight up lighter fluid. That was just straight up and down lighter fluid.
But another part of that match I liked was when he told Vampiro, when he beat Vampiro, and Vampiro's like, break my arm! And he just looks at him and goes, okay.
You know what's the best thing about the match? When Vampiro does the senton and falls on the thumbtacks, it sounds like, fuck! That was a good experience.
Oh man, so many good. I was gonna say about the team of Angelico, Son of Havoc, and Evilise winning the titles, but since we've already covered that,
that was like a given.
Well, no, it wasn't for me.
No,
it was not for me.
For the Dios Mio moment.
Oh yeah.
Well, the thing about that was, I had looked up because I wanted to see who Killshot was, and I saw on Wikipedia that Angelico, Son of Havoc, and Evilise had beaten them. So I thought I spoiled myself for the trios titles. Then after that, the crew came in, and I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't even know. So that was fun. But I think I'm going to say my Dios Mio moment, Dario Cueto revealing the gift of the gods.
I thought you were getting ladder match.
No. Dario Cueto revealing the gift of the gods, because he had been talking about the Aztec medallions for months. No one knew what they looked like. No one knew what they represented. And then he finally came out with a huge belt and said, okay, these are essentially Dragon Balls for a world title. And I'm your motherfucking Shenron. And I lost my damn mind. Like, everyone comes out. They magnetically put the medallions into the belt.
No, those were magnets. That was magic.
Okay, they magically put the medallions into the belt. Everyone's standing there. You got Bengala and Aerostar standing together.
The mighty Bengala.
The mighty Bengala, excuse me. They look like bootleg Power Rangers. Like, everything about it was just so good. And they took the concept of Money in the Bank, and not only did they improve on it, they made me actively excited for it because, as Dario said, it's not a cash-in. It's an opportunity. You have to let me promote this shit. And that's perfect. That is perfect.
That was definitely one of my favorite Dario moments of the year when he took that subtle cheap shot at Money in the Bank. Just such a...
Oh, it wasn't even subtle.
Just poking the bear just one time. You know what else is kind of funny is because the thing with the medallions is that this had come after they had done the Best of 5 series with Drago and Aerostar for the unique opportunity, which turned out to be, you're screwed, Drago. So, as they're collecting these medallions, I'm like, these guys could be fighting over, like, a coin machine for their, like, dunking them into an electrified pail of water, for all I know. You don't know what these things are. Just know you do not trust that man, Dario Cueto.
Well, that match wasn't even for a medallion. That was just for a shot at Prince Puma.
I know it was just for a shot. I get my point is that Dario Cueto's vague descriptions of if you win, you will get something. I'm not telling you if it will be good or bad. So here's something else.
Unique.
Here, fight over these medallions. I'll tell you what they do later. And I'm like, what if you explode? What if you? I mean, the rules are out the window, right? In Lucha Underground, you could. Well, I don't know. Anything could happen. You could turn into the coin. You could just poof. You know.
All right.
I don't know.
Well, before we get to our MVPs, I think there's an aspect of Lucha Underground that we haven't really touched upon. I'm sorry for springing this on you guys. Best backstage segment. There's a lot to choose from. Since I'm springing it, I'll go first of mine. I'm gonna say the scene where Katrina showed up to provoke Angelico, Son of Havoc, and Ivelisse, and disappeared to the point where you got a full-on sitcom moment where Ivelisse fell on top of Son of Havoc, and Angelico's standing in the doorway like, not this again. It was just perfectly encapsulating their entire storyline, and it was just fantastic. All right.
I'll take it from here, Mike.
Okay, Matt.
My favorite backstage segment, and I'm glad you've done this category because I did want to mention this.
Yeah, I just realized, like, we're talking a lot about the in-ring. We have not talked about backstage, which makes Lucha.
And it does deserve its own set of mentions. Alberto El Patron's first formal sit-down in Dario's office. Not the tease from the previous episode, but that moment when he's in the office at the beginning of the following episode, and he politely asks Dario, "That's a nice key. What does it open?" And Dario pulls the mother of all no-cells on this question and proceeds to the next thing he was going to talk about, and we were just all left sitting there. Yes, what does the key open? Because I think we were all still in the dark on that at that point.
At this, we're kind of still in the dark about it. Let's be honest.
We know it opened Matanza's cage. Okay, that was clear.
By the way, I don't know if I said this on here. I really hope Matanza's just El Torito. Like, it's just a midget wrestler in a leather Hannibal mask that motherfucking murders people.
So does kinda. His eyes. Like a T-Rex.
Oh, look, he's so cute. Yeah.
He's like a Mogwai. Oh my god, he's like a Mogwai.
Well, let's not get carried away.
Oh, that'd be so good. That's why you can't feed him after midnight.
The rat from Monty Python. Run away!
All right, Bobby, Sierra, either of you have your favorite backstage segment yet?
Got one.
All right, Bobby.
Katrina, once again, appearing to Dario Cueto in his office, scaring the living shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was fun.
The one where she, like, just put him in an armbar and slammed him down on his own desk.
No, and then she disappears, and he's like, what? What happened?
And Dario was like, oh, I didn't know Mill wanted a title shot. I didn't know. He can have one. It's fine. We're good. We're golden. We got this.
She disappears, and the look on Dario's face is like, how much cocaine did I smoke today?
Oh, God. Oh, man. How about you, Sierra?
I'm trying to think of the greatest hits from Dario Cueto, but I think I'm gonna go when they started doing vignettes for Conan coming back. When he was like in a warehouse and it was raining, and I was like, oh shit, they just took this old broken man and made him a badass.
He had draw a line with his cane in the water.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
It was just beautiful.
Oh man, and these are just the tip of the iceberg, you guys. If you haven't watched Lucha Underground, the fuck are you waiting for? Find it online.
Yes, watch Lucha Underground.
Yeah, seriously. Turn this off right away and find Lucha Underground. Just start watching it.
Watch this.
Quickly, before we spoil it for you, yes.
Yeah.
Well, we got the views already. They can turn it off. No.
So
but
it's all about that duration, Mike.
Yeah, that's true. He would.
Yeah.
But I mean, you also got Drago showing up like Batman and flying away. All of the end segments from Ultima Lucha, just all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
There was this epic vignette when Cage first showed up, where he beats up like 10 people in some parking lot, and someone smashes a beer bottle over his head, and it does nothing.
Anytime they did a Mortal Kombat segment, anytime they did like a Mortal Kombat opening segment for a vignette, like Drago had his nunchucks, Pentagon Jr. was in the Japanese temple, which now I guess is in Canada. Just all of those kinds of things are ridiculous. All right, so guys, are you ready?
Yeah.
It's time for all of us to declare our MVP of Lucha Underground. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, Garza. Who is your MVP for Season 1 of Lucha Underground?
My most valuable luchador for Season 1 is Pentagon Jr.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think from the start of the show, we knew that Mil Muertes and Prince Puma and Mundo were going to be like the top stars. We knew that Alberto is a top star by itself. But like these three guys, Phoenix, Drago, and Pentagon Jr., they debuted, and I'm not sure if they thought they were going to become so huge, but they did. And Pentagon Jr. particularly went from being just like some rudo to becoming like what I believe is the top heel, or at least the most loved heel in the promotion.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even know if he ends up a heel.
I mean, he is, but he got to a point of so much awesomeness that he didn't even give a shit about medallions. He was just like, I'm a bad guy and I want to hurt motherfuckers. Like,
break arm.
And something that I noticed really particular about Pentagon Jr. If you see the whole season of Lucha Underground, there's not many guys that were trusted to talk in the ring. Not many guys do promos in the ring. Probably just Alberto, I don't know, maybe Conan, and Pentagon Jr.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that was so good at his delivery that they trusted to do a live promo inside the ring. And that's props to him. Even if they were Spanish, but props to him.
Yeah, and then the fact that his promo was all in Spanish too, that is something you would not see on a normal wrestling show or a normal wrestling channel. And it worked too. Because it's subtitled, you gotta pay attention.
Yep.
You have to read his promo and get what he's getting at.
You want some trivia on this?
Absolutely.
When they were taping Lucha Underground, they always did 2 tapings for each segment. So, for instance, if Melissa introduced someone in English, then she would introduce in Spanish. Similar with promos, whoever could talk both languages would just do both promos. If not, the Spanish version of the show has Mundo's and Alberto's, Mundo's particularly, subtitle, and the rest of the guys would just do in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another
really
version
cool.
of there's another version of Lucha Underground out there,
Yeah,
just in Spanish.
Is it on Telemundo?
Yeah, it's Unimas or something.
Yeah, Unimos. Yeah, on Saturdays. Because I tried to watch it and I was like, I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Then I caught up then.
And I think one of the announcers is Hugo Savinovich.
Yeah.
From WWE. I don't know who the other guy is. But
I thought Vampiro was doing color for both Spanish and English.
Probably.
Oh yeah, actually he probably is.
Which makes you wonder if they did the Pentagon angle with Hugo sitting there. They do that twice?
Nah, I don't think so. That would be a lot.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Like a parallel universe.
So Pentagon, of course, excellent choice.
Yeah.
Bobby, who is your MVP of Lucha Underground? Is it
Toss-
Melissa Santos?
Well, she's the MVP of my heart.
Okay.
It's a toss-up between two. I can't. I'm trying to.
Do you want us to come back to you, Bobby?
Come back to me. Give me
Okay,
somebody else to
Matt.
find one, then I can switch to the other one.
All right, Matt. Who is your MVP of Lucha Underground Season 1?
Do you want me to go with the obvious answer, or do you want me to pick a wrestler?
I have 2 non-wrestlers in my head and 1 wrestler, so you go with whoever you
That's
want.
pretty bold.
Who do you
Everybody
got?
knows the right answer, so I'll just give a different answer, just for the sake of being different. Because I feel like it's worth mentioning, as far as someone who should at least be considered for the MVP of Lucha Underground. And it may sound stupid or obvious, but Prince Puma.
Okay.
I mean, here's a guy who was brought from nowhere. No one in the States really knew who this guy was, right? No one knew who Ricochet was. They took this unproven, at least on a big, nationally televised professional wrestling promotion, and they made him the guy. And granted, he never talked, and Conan did the talking for him. But you know what? He delivered in the ring. He was wrestling under a mask, something I can only assume that he has done on very rare occasion, because I've never seen him wrestling in a match anywhere else in my life. And I know that can be a tough transition for wrestlers. And he did it. And he conveyed emotion through the mask, and he had freaking badass matches with all sorts of guys. And he was the champion, the centerpiece of Lucha Underground for the entire season. So, big props to Prince Puma.
He was Juan Cena through the whole thing.
It's Juan Cena! No, but he kind of wrestled like Lucha 97 Shawn Michaels. Like, he adapted to everybody's style. Like, he had matches with Big Rick, he had matches with Cage, and then Mundo and Muertes. Like, and Chavo even. Like, he could wrestle
Phoenix
all
and
those.
Hernandez.
And Phoenix, of course, yeah. Phoenix and Hernandez, and he wrestled all kinds of matches, all kinds of different opponents, and he was fantastic. Like, so, because that's a choice you have to make. That's a choice you have to make him your champion for basically the entire season.
And they could have gone the easy road, and they could have said, we're going to take Johnny Mundo, and he's going to be our guy.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that would have worked. But there was just something about the fact that they never leaned on those established guys. They never leaned on Johnny Mundo for too long. They never leaned on Alberto for too long. They were always going with, you know what, we're going with our guys. And Prince Puma was the head of that class. He was their guy. And you know what? His matches with Cage, I'll take those all day, baby. Those were great.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me 3 years ago that I would be salivating for a match between Ricochet and Judas Macias, I would have kicked you in the dick. I would have kicked you square in the dick. But here we are, and it was fantastic.
And just as a little bit of an aside, Ricochet is obviously back to doing his old thing. And he's been back over at New Japan, and he was at the G1 Climax, and he wrestled Kushida for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. And I couldn't wait, and I wanted to watch it. And you know what? It wasn't the same. It wasn't Prince Puma. It was just, I don't know. And I hope Ricochet can just go on to even bigger and better things. So I think he is just phenomenal, especially in the ring. But it was just weird to me that, like, I went, and maybe it was my fault. I sat down hoping to see Prince Puma. I got Ricochet instead, and I left disappointed. So what can I say?
All right, Bobby, have you settled on MVP, or would you like me to go?
You can go.
Okay. I know who Matt was trying to debate saying, and
But you know what? I think it's interesting that you said you had 2 non-wrestlers in mind.
Did.
Because believe me, I had 2 non-wrestlers in mind.
I'm going to tell you who my second non-wrestler is, and you guys are going to be a little surprised.
Well, let's not steal Bobby's idea, Mike. Let's just do our one here.
Bobby, are the 2 guys you thinking of wrestlers?
Yeah, both of them are.
Okay, so this won't spoil Bobby's.
Okay.
My secondary MVP is Matt Goddamn Stryker.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Matt Striker. I wasn't a huge fan of his commentary style in WWE.
When he started, it gave me a sore throat to listen to him.
Yeah,
'Cause he had
exactly.
a very gravelly voice, and then he got the hang of it after a while, and then he became really good.
Mm-hmm.
What came up at Bureau when they started? They were bad,
Mhm.
and I mean, by the end of the show, they're part of flavor.
Yeah, and they brought Matt Striker kept you in the world.
Mhm.
He kept you in the environment that you needed to be to watch Lucha Underground. Granted, it may not be the most technical commentary. Sometimes he got a lot of things wrong, but god damn it, he kept you involved.
He was like
You
pop
know
up
what?
at times too with those little trivia things.
Yeah.
Putting them in.
And you know what? Now Stryker's got his signature calls now too, which I can't recall him ever having in WWE. Now, if everyone does a cool move, it's nicely done.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever someone goes over the top rope, it's just that's will always be what I take away from Stryker as a Lucha Underground commentator. And the fact that poor Stryker never found out what happened to Bale. I kind of feel sorry for him. Because one day I'm like, wonder where Bale's been, Vampiro. Just so
I hope
perfect.
season 2 of Lucha Underground is just Matt Striker going full CSI and trying to figure out whatever happened to Bale.
What happened to Bale?
An in memoriam segment on this.
He brings in the 4th Baldwin brother and they try and track down what happened to Bale. They search the old remnants of the temple.
But I mean, it was so perfect. It's so perfect for that world. Because of course Stryker has no clue what's happening backstage. He's not in Dario's office. Only we, the omnipotent viewers, have any understanding of everything that's going on. Stryker remains confined to his corner of the world. It's just so perfect.
And Stryker
doesn't know there's a monster downstairs.
Yeah. Stryker has no idea.
Stryker
It
didn't
would've
even
been funny
know.
if they could have sent Stryker down to the basement to get like a can of beans or something like that. And Stryker just goes in the wrong door. And, oh my,
Stryker didn't even know why Chavo and Blue Demon were on the same side. He sure as hell isn't gonna know why there's a monster in the basement eating motherfuckers. But as we all know, the real MVP is our owner and our proprietor, Dario Cueto, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, the best authority figure, I'm gonna say, in the history of wrestling. I'm gonna say he's better than Mr. McMahon.
I can't go that far.
I can.
I'm gonna say it because Mr. McMahon waned as the years went on. Right now, Dario is new and fresh, and he hasn't gotten horrible for me.
All you've got to go on right now is them at their peak. So you must consider every authority figure in the history of professional wrestling in their prime, at their peak.
Okay.
And at his peak, Mr. McMahon was freaking aces, man.
Okay. All right, that's true.
Dario's
all right.
amazing.
Okay, so maybe not better than Mr. McMahon, but pretty damn close.
On par with him.
Yeah, I was comparable. Comparable. I'll say comparable.
Something interesting about Dario that kind of helps him a lot is his motivations are never entirely clear. He's never just straight up evil, mustache twirling. You're kind of like,
well, no,
quite strategically what he's going for.
I beg to differ. I think his motivations are always very, very clear. He wants money.
Money and violence.
That's it.
Money and
It's not even best for business. It's best for Dario.
Mm-hmm.
It's whatever will make him the most money. Like, do you know why he did the Gift to the Gods? Not to shove it in WWE's face. He wants to promote the match. He doesn't want to be blindsided by any of these little fucking tool wrestlers running around his temple. No, he wants to be able to make money and cash in off of that. He's the one cashing in, not Phoenix. He's the one making the bank. When he left the temple, he made sure he packed up all the money in his suitcase before he left. He brought in Johnny Mundo and said, all right, Johnny, if you're going to wrestle for me, you know what? I'll just throw $100,000 in the air, and we'll
Yeah.
see who wants it more. Like,
Mhm.
that's how much of a dick he is. He's like, you know what? You guys are gonna fight for my money. It's fine. And I love how when another money guy comes in, Davari, like, like Dario Cueto doesn't want anything to do with him and looks at him like he's low class, even though Davari is shelling out money for protection from Big Rick. Like, Dario interacted with everyone on the roster and was able, like, he even,
Party them off.
yeah, like, he took a Jack Evans and the Mighty Bengala match and said, listen, none of you guys have impressed us, so you know what? I'm going to make it interesting because obviously you fuckers can't. You're fighting for a medallion.
I'll tell you what it does later.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they give you immortality or some cryptic bullshit, whatever that means. Like, it's just perfect.
I guess
and he does not care about the safety of his wrestlers.
that is for damn sure.
Like, he's like, oh, his reaction when Johnny Mundo got thrown through his window, or no, when Del Rio, when El Patron got thrown through his window, it's just like, oh, that's a shame.
I have to call you back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. Like, Dario Cueto made that ship run, and he controlled all the backstage segments for the most part. He drove the narrative, and he's the last thing we see as Lucha Underground Season 1 closes. It's fantastic.
And listen, for all we know, a complete novice at the world of professional wrestling.
Oh, God.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm absolutely
He was just a
sure.
normal actor.
Like, he's probably just someone that was an extra in From Dusk Till Dawn, and we don't even know about it. And he just knew Robert Rodriguez, and he was like, hey, you'd be good for this part. We'll bring you in. Don't worry.
No,
You just have to be a dick the whole time. You just have to be a dick.
Let me split this off because I want to ask a question about this, and this goes back to whether Lucha Underground will have like a real lasting effect on professional wrestling as a whole. Lucha Underground hired an actor to play their authority figure. It worked out perfectly. In a similar vein, WWE hired an actress to play Lana, right?
Mhm.
Not a wrestler. They hired an actress. And that worked out pretty good, pretty amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is this a sign? Because I know we've seen wrestling companies, wink, wink, TNA, try to hire actors and actresses before, and it has blown up in their faces. But do you think is this something that you think professional wrestling companies need to look at and be like, maybe we need to get a trained, skilled actor or actress to play X role, Y role?
Jon Stewart! Jon Stewart! Excuse me, I'm sorry. I have a daily show in my throat. I think it's something that they could definitely do, Matt. I think it's something that they should do. Because remember, the only time we enjoyed Shelton Benjamin was when he had his mama. A trained...
I wouldn't say that's the only time.
No.
All right, okay, hold on. Give me one other singles moment from Shelton Benjamin.
When he was in Money in the Bank. He stole the show in that all the time.
Yeah.
But when he
always
got drafted to Raw and he beat Triple H on his first one.
Show.
That was pretty
He
good.
beat Triple H.
Let's let the other boys answer. I want to hear what the other boys say. Bobby?
Alright. Since Mike gave 2, his runner-up and his MVP, I'm going to do the same. Runner-up is Drago.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he became, like, one of my favorites, like, from, like, nothing to, like, one of my favorite luchadors. I love the tongue, the cool tongue he had.
That's what she said.
Yep.
And, the wings were a bit to be desired, but
He was
he
Batman.
made it cool. He made it work. And then him like leaving in a ball of fire at the end, and when he left the first time, and then when he came back as Batman.
The
Awesome.
Drago Knight Rises.
But I gotta give it to Muertes. I mean, hands down my favorite all season. Just the best. The black pants.
Black pants, black mask.
Black pants and a black mask, and anybody that can rock a business suit and a luchador mask, that is like one of my favorite looks of anything. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, props to him.
Yeah, no, Bobby. If I was gonna say a wrestler, it would have been Muertes too.
Yeah, and Katrina too. She's part of it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they did have electric skeleton ninjas at their.
yeah, not so much the putties from Power Rangers.
The putties.
You know what? When they debuted their final masks, I was like,
those were cool.
Damn, that's fucking sick.
Yeah, the final
Circles of death. Yeah.
were cool. But when they first came out, I was like, really?
They look like the Court of Owls from Batman, and they were fighting Drago, so that made it even better for me. I'm like, okay.
I actually thought for a minute like that Mil Muertes could split himself into 3 individual people as like a trios team, and then form back together as Mil Muertes.
So you thought Mil Muertes was Voltron?
I suspended my belief. And I thought that could actually happen. I actually thought I was going to ask one night, I was like, do you guys think that Mil Muertes is actually those 3? And Katrina can, like, split him in half? Or in three parts?
You see, this is what watching Lucha Underground does to you. It makes you think anything is possible.
Is it, like, one of them wasn't one of them, like, Argenis?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of them actually was Bale, too.
No. No, it's Argenis. It's Ricky Mandel, and it's El Mariachi Loco.
Oh, all right.
It's those 3.
But
So Mariachi Loco is a champion right now.
Oh, he doesn't have to work for Tips anymore.
Famous.
I got a question for you guys. A quick also round. What's your wish list for season 2?
Oh, fuck me.
What's something in your
first
wish
of all,
list for season
I
2?
wish that there is a season 2.
Yeah.
Like right now
I guess
in
that's
my
a given.
face. All right. Well, I have mine if you guys need to think.
I got mine too, but you can go.
I wish for season 1 on DVD as soon as possible.
Or Netflix.
Boatload of extras.
Oh my god. Just Netflix. Netflix for me so I can binge the fuck out of it.
I want it in a nice case. I wanted to put it on my shelf next to my Benoit DVD.
Oh.
And I just want to just look at it sometimes, like a book. Just be like, yes, I watched that.
Put it in front of the Benoit DVD.
Yeah. All right. So my actual wish for season 2, I need Marty the Moth to go full psycho killer. They teased it. They teased it already. But Marty the Moth, like as soon as he came on, I liked the guy Martin from Tough Enough. Like I thought he was gonna be something really fun, and him coming out as Marty the Moth, and just being lecherous behind Melissa Santos, and eventually like not winning a single thing in Lucha Underground. He lost every single match, every segment he was in. I think he's the only guy who had 2 chances for a medallion. And then kidnapping Sexy Star, wrapping her in a rope cocoon, and saying he has a sister.
Yeah, I wonder who his sister is.
If it's like Mercedes Martinez or something like I want another insect themed.
She can hang upside down like a bat.
This is
like a moth.
Or oh fuck, what's her name? From the chick who was in LAX. Shelly Martinez. That's another way to go.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She can hang upside down like a moth. Or a bat. Whatever.
Oh my god, and he was playing with a light bulb like Killer Moth from Batman. He still doesn't know how moths' wings work. Like, I just want more from Mario the Moth. I want him to be like the dark horse of season 2. I want that to happen.
Can we have more Mordecai, please?
Yes, absolutely. We can have Mordecai. All right. Who has another wish for season 2?
I want to see. I want more Cage. I want Cage higher up the card. I want to be allowed to cheer for Cage, even though I don't think that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean the last he did curb
that way.
He did curb stomp the Mac onto cinder blocks. So
yes, he pretty much embraces his evil ways. But yeah, one of the things one of my small, tiny complaints about Lucha coming down the home stretch was that I felt like Cage was kind of like pushed to the side too much. I wanted to see more of him because I think he's just awesome.
Okay, Bobby. If you don't have one, we can go to Ciro because I think he has one.
Yeah, go to Ciro. He has one.
Okay, Ciro.
Okay, so I guess if there's season 2, we're eventually gonna start seeing a bunch of wars between families.
Mm-hmm.
But I want that at some point they make emphasis on the fact that a Spaniard, Dario Cueto, is stealing Aztec gold, and that is pissing everyone off.
You know who could be really pissed off about that? And they can bring this shit all the way back to ancient Aztecs time. Cortez.
Well, no, it's perfect that Cortez works for Dario.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh man.
Spaniards versus Mexicans. Do it. Okay.
I also want like a Game of Thrones opening where you see like the house Cueto, the house Guerrero, like the house Blue Demon, the house Dragon Azteca with one guy with a big X through his head.
Oh, poor guy.
Like I think we need something like that too. I think that'd be great. All right, Bobby.
I kind of want to see. I know they shouldn't. I want to see a women's title. Like,
Okay.
I want them to have more women wrestling on the show too. Like, it's cool that you have like Sexy Star taking on the men. I kind of want like Evilise and Melina now, even though I don't really care for Melina. You all know my history with her. Maybe get like a Shelly Martinez in there as Marty the Moth's sister. Because WWE's doing like women's wrestling right now. It's getting bigger. I think that would be a good thing. So that'd be my wish, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely a way they could go since they have like the main belt, the mid-card belt, and the tag team belt. So.
Also, what's the significance of Dario Cueto's bull that he went back to get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That was weird, wasn't it?
And one other wish. Matanza in the ring.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't care who it is.
Matanza versus Matanza versus
who
Muertes.
do you guys think Matanza is? Or who do you think would work as Matanza at this point? Realistically, no more Goldberg.
No, I'm.
I desperately want that, but no, you're right. It's stupid because it's got to be somebody. It has to be someone not recognizable.
The mountain.
At least in body type. It is tough. I just don't know enough about like.
I
are there
hate
any
this.
huge guys in AAA that fit that bill?
Guys, I hate
Garza?
to say it. You know who'd be perfect?
Hmm.
A recent Tough Enough cast-off. Mata.
Yeah.
I think Mata would work really, really well in that role.
He's intimidating.
Yeah, he dude's a jacked, big guy, and I think, I don't know what his wrestling skills are like at this point, or will be when Lucha gets finished up again. But if he could even do a little bit, he'd be really fun as Matanza. He'd be
Tugboat.
really fun.
Tugboat.
Not tugboat, Bobby. Not tugboat. But I'm dead serious. I wouldn't mind seeing it be a midget wrestler. I would love it to be a midget wrestler. I think that would be amazing.
Vanilla Escarlata. Reborn.
Pimpy Reborn is Matanza. Oh God! All right, Matt, who do you want to see as Matanza?
I don't know. I mean, is there like a giant guy in AAA right now, Ciro, that could be that huge guy, or did we use our only one when we came up with Mil Muertes?
The other giant guys are Mil Muertes size.
Yeah. Do we need someone who's bigger than Mil?
I think so. I think you kind of need someone who at least looks more physically imposing than Mil. Or less.
Higher the mountain from Game of Thrones.
Oh, shit.
Wow. There it is.
Man can live
Bobby.
He's a legend.
Matanza.
You know what? There is a guy. Oh, shoot. What's his name? He's on the indies. He's getting a little bit tied into global forces, like something Kong or something like that. Some playoff on that. Dude is legitimately huge. What's his name?
Congo Kong.
Congo Kong. Dude is very large. I don't know if he can wrestle, but he gets paid to do it, so he must be okay. There's a good candidate for you. Not a lot of people have seen him.
Great Khali.
Put him under a mask. He's gigantic.
Great Khali in a mask.
Maybe he could pass for Mexican. I don't know.
Bobby,
or Spanish. I'm sorry.
Did you just channel Riz?
Yes, I did.
Great Khali in a mask.
Nobody said Matanza could bend his knees.
Hey, you know what? If Lucha Underground can make me cheer Ezekiel Jackson versus John Morrison, they might be able to make the Great Khali work.
Hey, Matanza could be Ezekiel in a mask.
Yeah.
Just a full bodysuit and a mask.
Elegante.
No, I think he's dead.
Yeah, I know. In memoriam. We'll add him into the in memoriam section.
Oh, God. All right, so I think it's time to wrap it up, guys. Ciro, any final thoughts about Lucha Underground Season 1?
It changed the world for wrestling, in my opinion. Like the little project that no one really was talking about, I think could be a catalyst to a lot of changes in wrestling.
Yep. Okay, Bobby.
Revolutionary. I think it was revolutionary for what they did. Like, they just, like Sarah said, changed wrestling for the better.
Yeah, definitely. Matt?
An amazing product. Groundbreaking. Now, can they get enough eyeballs onto it? That's the next challenge. Can they get themselves onto Netflix? Get season 1 on the Netflix. That, I'm telling you, would be huge. Bigger than any network would be if they could get themselves on the Netflix.
Hashtag Netflix needs Lucha was the hashtag, I believe.
Yeah.
They've got the product. There's all sorts of crossover. There's all this accessibility for non-wrestling fans to kind of attach themselves to it. They just need to get people to sample it. So get the DVD out there. Get season 1 on Netflix. I don't care what you have to do. You've got to get people's eyeballs onto your product because you've got something.
Absolutely, and I know we've said for years that we need an alternative to WWE, and I forget who it was that said it. I think it might have been LB, but he said that we don't know what the alternative is yet, but we will know it when we see it. And Lucha Underground is that alternative.
Mm-hmm.
It takes enhanced storytelling, like most of television has now, with your Breaking Bads, your Mad Men, your Arrows, your American Horror Story. Like, it takes aspects of all of that kind of stuff, lumps it into wrestling, produces the hell out of it, shoots the hell out of it, and it's such a well put together product with a vision, with a direction. And like you guys said, it's changed the wrestling world. It really has. And for the better. Because I think it's forced everyone to step their game up. Because it shows that if you have a product in the can for months, you can still produce the hell out of it, edit it, and make it the best product on television wrestling-wise. And I don't think any of us will disagree with that. We know the Midweek War, Lucha pretty much won the best show just about every week. There was never really a bad week of Lucha. And it's because they had a vision for it and they followed through.
I think it speaks to long-term planning being better than fly by the seat of your pants.
Mm-hmm.
Have a plan, follow that plan, follow your vision, and don't, go one way or the other just because of the way the wind is blowing that week. Stick to your guns. Stick to your vision. And that's what Lucha did. And like you said, I hope it changes professional wrestling for the better. But we'll see. Maybe we'll come back and have this conversation in a few years and reminisce about how this one season of Lucha Underground was so special to us, and nothing ever came of it.
Oh, don't say that, Matt. Don't
They did not
say that.
become heroes.
All right. Well, for Antonio Garza, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at DW Revolution for Twitter, and you can find me at DWrestlingRevolution.com, where I'm actually starting to rewatch Lucha Underground from episode 1, and trying to find those little details and things that I missed on the first show.
Excellent. Bobby, where can people find you on the internet?
At Bobby F JTown and on InsertCoinToBegin.com and Boss Battle live on SorgatronMedia.com, live at 8 o'clock. Join us
on Tuesday nights.
Tuesday nights, yes.
Yes. And Mainstream Matt, where can the people find you on the interwebs?
Find me on Twitter at MainstreamMatt with 1 T. And while I'm kind of in a lull right now with my blog, go read Ciro's rejourneying through season 1 of Lucha Underground, because it is an awesome read. I'm enjoying it.
Thank you.
Alrighty, and I am Mad Mike 4883 on the Twitters. You can also find me doing the Tough Enough and Total Divas wrap-ups with one Jen Carlins. Next week we got the finale, and we just found out that Cesaro is going to be wrestling ZZ and Josh, and Alicia Fox is going to be wrestling Sarah and Amanda. So that makes it a 10 times more interesting show than I thought it was going to be. And also, we will be here tomorrow night for the Midweek War! And also, this weekend, I will be trying my best to periscope some things from NXT TakeOver in Brooklyn. So, for all the guys, I'm Mad Mike, and this has been your Lucha Underground Season 1 wrap-up. And, guys, I hate to tell you this, we're going to end in a ladder match!